America, fuck yeah.
You already know why you're here. We just watched the United States play in their biggest game in the last 8 years against England, and we were pretty successful. And just a quick heads up, it's still called soccer.
It's still called soccer.
We give our take.
Getting straight into it, we're not gonna dilly dally.
Nope.
Straight up.
You know
what
us.
A fucking game.
We don't dilly dally.
What a game. Absolute end to end. We put up an amazing display of our talents and showing what the Americans can do on the soccer field. And it's called a soccer field. It's not called a pitch, it's called a field. It's just these things, like we are showing up against England. What a performance.
Really, really great performance front to back, but honestly, you have to really just give it up to that midfield of the United States. Nobody came into this game thinking that the United States midfield would be able to do what they did against that extremely, extremely talented England midfield.
Yeah.
And they just completely bossed it. I mean, from the starting 11, we see one change for the United States and Haji Wright going in for Josh Sargent.
Who was in my picks for their best 11, who I thought had an okay game, should have done a lot more.
Had a couple opportunities that he kind of soiled, but we'll get into that. But then England, they had the same exact 11. So their cohesion, their unit stayed the same. They had all that momentum going in from that 6-2. Yeah. And as a United States fan and a USMNT admirer, supporter, I was nervous.
I was very
This is the most nerve-wracking game that I have watched in the last 8 years, like we said.
Yeah.
There's no bigger game for the United States than England in a World Cup, just to show, hey, we've been doing this shit since 1783, winning against these motherfuckers, and we cannot lose.
The whole performance, like we said, insane. But also just the meaning of it, like, to Americans, what this game meant, it was just so huge. It's because England for so long, and they still will after, it doesn't matter. It's just the American hate. They'll not hate, but
no, they will always dislike Americans. They will always be salty about the Americans. No matter how good we get, they will always have that superiority complex.
Yeah,
they will always feel like they're the better team, and you saw that in the week leading up to this game. After that Iran game, and they win 6-2, they were talking mad shit, saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter."
Yeah. They were wondering how many goals they were going to score against the USA.
They're throwing up memes of 9/11, trashing us. But you know what? Lizzie's in a box, bitch. Like, what are you talking about now?
Yeah. Harry Kane, where you at? We can't find you. I think you're still in Tyler Adams' pocket, bro.
I mean,
the whole fucking team. Mason Mount, where were you? Saka, who is that? Sterling, what club did he go to? We don't know. Tyler Adams. Okay, before we get into any other player,
we gotta give a quick, not a quick. We gotta give an in-depth, detailed account of the absolute
best player on the pitch of all 22 players, without a doubt, and you can't argue it. That man, I don't know how Pulisic won Man of the Match. Like, it's just because it was the
names. The names are winning,
and because it was a good result for the USA. But Tyler Adams, disgustingly good. Like, honestly, in the that was a world class performance. World class, like, not just good, not great, not amazing. That was a world class performance from a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Like,
and he knows the English game better than a lot of the United States players, obviously because he plays for Leeds, but he is in a system in Leeds that is kind of similar to how he plays in the United States for the United States.
The high intensity, high press.
It helps him.
Energy.
So to know some of the players that he's going against.
Yeah.
To know that, hey, Harry Kane likes to drop in and find those passing lanes, so then he can play the 1-2s to get up through and connect the play. He shut him down.
Yeah.
Harry Kane had a couple of touches.
Harry Kane had 3 touches in USA's box the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely limited. Adams, I can't say enough good things.
Yeah.
But also you have to give it up to his partners in midfield and Musa, who is 19, and McKennie, who is becoming
He's also like 23 or something.
He's becoming one of the better midfielders in the world, not only for this United States team, but in the world. They're showing that, hey, we've got some players other than just Pulisic who should now be starting, obviously, at Chelsea over Sterling, over Mason Mount.
Yeah.
Those two players had absolutely ghost performances. They may as well not even have been on the pitch. They didn't create a single
They've been ghosted
chance
for the last few weeks. They're not that guy. Pulisic is a big occasion player. He wants the pressure. He likes to be the guy. Yeah. And I understand not at Chelsea. I'm not going to say he's the best player, but when you see Sterling and Mount and you wonder how he doesn't get game time, it really doesn't make sense. Because, okay, maybe he's not who Americans think he is, but
he's
who the
definitely
fuck's
better.
Sterling? Who the fuck's Mason Mount,
he's
bro?
He's definitely better than how the English think he is.
You can't tell me that Mason Mount... You could say Mason Mount's better. That's fair. You can say Sterling's better. It's fair. It can be an argument. But to say that they're that clear, much better, they're clear?
No fucking way.
There's no shot. And it's not just based on yesterday's game for those two. And I know we're shitting on all the other Chelsea Englishmen. We're just going to shit on all the Englishmen because fuck them. They don't deserve it. Like, they don't deserve it any more than Pulisic does. They don't have anything over him. Neither of them.
Pulisic gets shit on because people call him the LeBron James of soccer because some dumbass American
we can't help
that
we're uneducated.
He don't know dick.
We're not all educated Americans.
So when you actually see people that know ball and have the ball knowledge that we do, we can tell, yes, he is a good player. But he is not going to be one of the best players in the world. But we don't expect him to be.
No.
And the English media expect Pulisic to be the LeBron James of soccer.
They expect him to
he's
be
not,
Messi.
He's shit. He doesn't deserve that place in the starting 11. He was only bought because marketing strategies. No, fuck you. He's a great player who leads that U.S. team. Obviously, Adams is the captain, but he is a very, very motivational factor in that team. I mean, nobody in that front line put as much of an effort in yesterday as Pulisic did.
I also want to give a big shout out to Tim Weah. He's insane.
Yeah.
Before we keep talking about all the individuals, let's just get into the game itself. The starting 11, like we said, pretty much the same from the Wales game. And Haji Wright coming in, who I thought could have done better, but you know what I mean? It is what it is. He hasn't really been included in the USA squad very often, so you can see why it would kind of take him time to get up to pace. The lineup was good. You saw the system change a bit with a 4-4-2 really
instead of that 4-3-3
out of possession.
We used to seeing.
Haji Wright and Tim Weah really were at the start of the game were the two highest up on the field, which I thought was a really good idea.
Yeah.
Pulisic playing off the left, going up, but again, the 4-4-2 we were playing with Adams and Musa. Oh my goodness. Those two were absolute workhorses the whole game. The two center backs played so well. Tim Ream pressing Harry Kane every time. He knows Harry Kane wants to drop, but he just went right after him. He went right with him. It didn't matter if Harry Kane was dropping back into a false nine position or whatever. Tim Ream followed. Tim Ream knew he was on his ass the whole time. And he had an amazing performance. The back line had an amazing performance. Anthony Robinson, amazing performance.
Great performance from
Zimmerman,
Anthony.
Decent performance. We need to talk about Matt Turner. Matt Turner, he needs to be somewhere starting.
Great saves.
Not saying he needs to be starting for Arsenal. I'm not going to say he's better than Ramsdale, because Ramsdale is a good goalie. But he deserves to be starting somewhere. He deserves to be in a top 5 league starting on a team somewhere. He's capable. Yeah. And I want that for him because consistency is what I feel from the outside looking at least, is what makes a goalie so great, is when you have consistency and when you have these playing time and you can show your ability. And Matt Turner, who hasn't had the most playing time compared to other goalies in this tournament, still putting on performances, still making big saves, still coming up big for his country.
Like we said, that defense did help him out because he didn't have a lot of shots to save, but when he did have shots.
Yeah, he's there.
He saved him.
He's ready.
He did exactly what he needs to do. That's the life of a goalie.
Yeah.
You go 35 minutes with nothing happening, and all of a sudden you get a Harry Kane or a Saka shot right at your face.
Yeah.
You have to save it. And he did. He did exactly what he needed to do. Tim Ream, like Tanner was saying, we came into this World Cup knowing that he is not the fastest player in the world.
Yeah.
But his positions and his defensive ability is incredible.
He's a super smart footballer, and that's why he's captain of Fulham, and you see it week in and week out in the Premier League, the English league, the top English league. And so much credit to him for he's been in and out of the USA squad too. We have to realize that. He's 35.
He didn't have a guaranteed spot in this.
He did not.
26, not even in this 11, but in the 26th, he was not even going to be selected in a lot of projections because of how Greg likes to set up his teams.
And then thank God, he picks Tim Ream. And not only picks him in the team, he starts him against Wales, and he sees why Tim Ream needs to be there. He's flat out our best defender. There's no question. He's the best defender. Zimmerman is a good defender, and
he showed why he's a good
defender.
He's two-time MLS Defender of the Year.
Yeah.
He is a good player.
He has it about him, and last against Wales, we did see him give away a pen. But over these two games, he's been insane. Before we move on from the defense, though, defensively, Serginho Dest is absolutely shambolic. Like, absolutely terrible. Yesterday when Grealish came on for England, he was tearing his ass up. He wanted all the smoke with Serginho Dest running at him. And it's Jack Grealish, who we've all been mocking left and right for City, who hasn't been performing anywhere near what we expect him to be. But he puts on that England shirt. He goes on, there's a few City players who should have got on the pitch who didn't, which we'll get into later. But from an England perspective, Jack Grealish running at Dest, that's what you wanted. Dest was absolutely terrible.
He didn't do great defensively, but...
Defensively, he was terrible.
But you do have to also take into account, over 2 games against Wales and England, we've conceded 1 goal. Yeah. And that is... And it was in the 80th minute, dying minutes, that was a penalty. We haven't conceded an open play 1 time. The defensive structure is there. Dest did have a couple of individual mistakes where he went for the ball and Grealish got around him.
Not just Grealish, just
or Sterling got around him.
He was a little too cocky sometimes too, but on the ball, wonderful player.
Yeah.
Going forward, wonderful player. We just need to see those defensive... He looks... When I see him defend, he doesn't look confident. He doesn't look like he wants to defend. He doesn't look like he's comfortable at all. So when he's getting put in these situations, it's really... an easy time to judge him and see his inefficiencies, you could say.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, like I said, 1 goal conceded in 2 games.
Yeah.
Great.
For sure.
Great result for us so far. But obviously the game itself, you have to take it into account that it is England, one of the top 5 best teams in the world. Mm-hmm. We are ranked 16th and they're 5th. They're one of the favorites coming into this tournament, and we held them to a 0-0 draw. I mean, for me, obviously you want the win. And we had opportunities for the win. In the first half, McKinney had a beautiful cross. Dest had a beautiful cross to McKinney.
Yeah.
And he just skied it. And it was right there for the taking.
Yeah.
Haji Wright had opportunities.
Yeah.
I came out of this game...
Pulisic had an opportunity.
It hits the bar. I came out of this game thinking, that is a good result. Yeah. Obviously, you want 3 points, but that is a good result for us. The English fans are so upset, pissing and moaning, saying, "Oh, we played terribly. We made you play terribly. We dictated most of that game." There was only a very finite few amount of opportunities that England actually had that were clear-cut opportunities like the U.S. did have.
And you could say England, they definitely dominated possession, but we dominated the game. And you couldn't tell me any other way about it. We dictated play pretty much throughout the whole 90 minutes. England had their spurts of times where you thought they looked good. And yeah, it's England. But we dictated the game
We played our game. We played our game.
We played our game. We didn't own the ball all the time, but we played our game.
And that's not always our game. Our game is not always to have the possession and break it down. No, we want to win the ball back in those final third, or in the England third, and in midfield, and create those quick running opportunities. And that's exactly what we did. We didn't let England play around us or play through us. We were solid defensively. Once again, we keep talking about Tyler Adams, man of the match, should have been. And honestly, that midfield, I will be extremely surprised if in the next couple of years, at least before the next World Cup, if Musa is not on a title or a league contending team in one of the top 5 leagues. I can see him playing for a better team than Valencia in the next couple of years. I can see Tyler Adams playing for a team better than Leeds in a couple of years.
Yeah.
These young players are just proving exactly what they can. And in the next World Cup, obviously we want to do well in this one.
Yeah.
But in the next World Cup, these guys are only going to be 23,
only going to be
26, 27, 28 in their primes, and they're showing exactly what they can do for us right now.
I think it's so important to note, too, all these good things we're saying, it was a great game. But there was also so many opportunities that we had. Take away that it was England. Okay, take away that name. The performance we put, you expected us to win.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities we had, that McKinney opportunity, like you said, big miss. Pulisic, some opportunities. Some chances we had. Other than Mason Mount's shot for England, other than that, I didn't feel any
pressure.
I didn't feel pressure at all. I didn't feel worried from England. I didn't feel any sort of threat, but except that one Mason Mount shot.
There was one cross from Luke Shaw that made me somewhat worried just because it was a great ball in, but they couldn't get a header on it. Tim Ream was able to clear it and do wonderfully. I mean, we can't say enough good things about the performance, except you do want the win, obviously.
And the bad part, again, like, we got to put the ball in the back of the net. And against Wales, we had some opportunities. We should have put the ball in the back of the net. We didn't. England, again, I know it's England. They're a tough team to play against. We should have put the ball in the back of the net. Shout out to Harry Maguire, though. Harry Maguire and John Stones, for matter of fact, too, honestly. Those two center backs had a game and a half.
They did way better than what many people were expecting. Harry Maguire has had so much pressure thrown onto him because of the season that he's had so far in England, and because of last season. He has just so much pressure and so much spotlight, and he is doing really well. I mean, he is just consistently battling, winning aerial duels, doing everything that he can to keep the ball out of the back of the net, and they've done really well.
Yeah.
And the combo of Shaw and Maguire on that left side has just continued to work really well for England.
Yeah. All right, that's it. That's everything we have. England versus USA, our reaction, you know what I'm saying? We got Iran on Tuesday. We need to win. We have to win. If we win, we go through. If we don't, we're out. It's all on Berhalter now and these players. Let's see what we can do. Just your face, though. Like, make like a facial expression like... Okay. Cool. Ah! Fuck! Why does that hurt so bad?